All right, so we are starting with just a simple multiply everything by 2, and you should have had 2x squared plus 8x minus 16, and you should have said like, hey, could we make it harder than that because that's too easy. All right, so here's another one that's a little more challenging. X minus 3 times x squared plus 2x plus 3. Now, I personally like to do this by just distributing this, and then I distribute the x later. But you can do it either way. Your answer is going to have 6 parts. Go ahead, get that one done. I'm going to pause for a second. Let me give that a try. Okay, let's see if you were on track here. I hope you had the -3 here. You didn't have to do it first, but I'm doing it first. The -3 gets to multiply by everything, and you would have had -3x squared. And you would have had -3 times the 2 makes -6x. And then you would have had -9. Now I'm going to go do all of the x's. X times x is, wait a minute, that's x times x to the second. That's x to the third. Look at me putting that in front. Because remember how the ones with the biggest powers go in front? And then x times 2x is 2x squared. I'm going to put that right underneath this one. I know it's kind of random, but do you see how I put them together so that I can add them together? They're like terms. I'm just being smart about where I put it. And now the last thing I have is x times 3 is 3x. It's positive 3x. I'm going to put it right underneath the 6x. Now, you might have written yours different, but in the end, you got 6 things, just like I got 6 things. And I hope you put together the like terms. So then your final answer should have been x to the third minus x squared minus 3x minus 9. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Impressive. That's a lot of you had it right. Okay, now, would you please tell me what f of -1 is? You can totally use a calculator for this and for the little quiz you're going to have in a minute. So this is the part where you should probably come and borrow calculators from me. Right now, you're supposed to be sticking -1 in here, and I personally would use the parentheses. Because if you don't use parentheses around where the variable is, it will be a different answer. That's why I bought calculators with parentheses on them. Because without the parentheses, you get one answer. With the parentheses, you get a different answer. All right, so you're calculating that up, and in a second, you're going to compare it with the kid next to you. I'm going to pause for a sec and see what you got. All right, you should have put in -1 with the parentheses, and I personally would have just typed it all in at once, and I would have double-checked that I didn't screw up any negatives. But I'm good enough at this, and I hope you aspire to be, that you can do these in your head. That's -1. This one's +1. But there's a negative in front, which makes it -1 again. This one's 2 negatives, so it makes it +3 and -9. And if I put that all together, this is -1 and -1 and 3. That makes +1. 1 minus 9, -8. If you didn't get -8, you didn't type it in right. Raise your hand if you did get -8. Okay, awesome. Yay, we got one of the master skills down. Now, there's really only a couple of things left, and then I'm going to give you this quiz, which you're going to be able to work with people nearby, like people across from you. You're going to be able to have a little partner for this quiz. Would this have been a polynomial that has 3 terms and therefore is called a trinomial? I see a couple kids shaking their head. What's the catch? It was a trinomial, except you can't have a negative power like that, or it's not a polynomial. Okay, now if I erase that, would you agree now it is a polynomial? Okay, good. So how about adding and subtracting polynomials? Let's say I have this polynomial, and I want to add it to another one, and they're both in parentheses. A lot of people have a hang-up about parentheses, and they think like you can never drop the parentheses. You can drop the parentheses. In this case, when they're just adding, you can drop the parentheses. It's like they're not even there. and you just add the like terms together. Would you please, you don't have to even write the problem down. Everybody just tell me the answer for this one. The parentheses just drop. Then there are like terms. You know, like this is like terms of this. Put them together. And I know some people are like, I don't know, is that x to the 6th or is it x to the 3rd? You're adding, and that's different. So think it through. How many of you said 4x to the 3rd? Raise your hand if you did. That was right. If you thought it was 4x to the 6th, I get it, but that would be if you multiplied. We are not multiplying right now. We are adding. All right. Next, you got an x squared and another x squared, and what's that make? Help out, come on. Thank you, 2x squared. And then last but not least, we have this lonely 3. There's nothing that it goes with, so it's just plus 3, and there it is. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, cool. That's most people. Do you have any questions so far? Okay, that was so easy, Mr. Server. Can you make it rain harder? Oh, yes, I can. Don't write the problem down. It'll take you too much time. But just give me the answer. 4x to the 3rd plus 2x plus 1 minus, now can I just drop the parentheses? No, I can't. I have to distribute that negative into 2x to the 3rd minus x minus 1. Remember, distribute that puppy. You cannot just drop the parentheses. Then, in your head, distribute that negative and then combine the like terms. Do you see some x to the 3rds that can go with some other x to the 3rds? I do. Okay, give this one a shot. This is the part where you got to think of this as a challenge. Like, yeah, I can do that. That's not that hard. Put a negative on this. Put a, wait a minute, 2 negatives on that. Plus x plus 1. And then I combine the like terms, and I'm like, okay, that and that. Christian, what do you get when you put the 4x to the 3rd and the negative 2x to the 3rd together?
Negative 8x.
You're multiplying. This is add subtract. You know how I can tell? Because of that minus there. This is add subtract. 2x to the 3rd is correct. Good. All right. And then Victoria, what did you get for the next one? This and this. What do you get? 2x, and it's a plus x. Why is it plus, though? You said minus, because there's 2 minuses. You got how there's 2 minuses? So it turns into a plus. So it's 2x plus x. And then, last but not least, is this one and this positive 1. But it was negative. We distributed the negative, and it became positive 1 and positive 1. And if you can't add 1 plus 1 to make 2, I'd be very sad. There it is. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. So, I know some of you are getting sick of the whole raise your hand and if you got that one right, but it really helps. Because if only like half the class raises their hand, then I go, oh crap, they're getting this wrong. I better do another one. Okay, so please do participate when I ask you if you got it right. All right, so that is everything. I've just taught you everything we are expecting you to know so far. Now, is there complications? Sure. This is the biggest thing. If I add these, I get one thing. If I multiply them, I get something else. You always have to ask yourself, am I supposed to add or am I supposed to multiply? So I'd like you to do it both ways. Would you please tell me what you get if you add these? And then would you please tell me what you get if you multiply them? It'll be different. If you add, you get one thing. If you multiply, you'll get something else. Toss the garbage from the calculator in here, that'll save us some time. us that? I feel like I'm on an airline or something. Okay, anyone? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. And move down this row. Thank you. Okay, compare with the kid next to you. See what you got for adding versus multiplying. It's you two. You haven't already, please compare with that person. Thank you. Okay, so if you added them, if it was adding, then it's as simple as 6x squared. The end. If you were multiplying, I'm going to make this into a star, then the number goes with the number. 4 times 2, 8. And then x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. How many of you had that right? Raise your hand if you did. Okay, that's most of you. Good. Okay. All right, now I think we're officially ready. We have 2 more things. I'm going to give you this quiz in class. You'll finish it with the kid next to you. You'll work together. When you're done, you'll just hand it in. And then there's a Schoology quiz as actual homework. Okay, so the thing we're doing in class is the in-class quiz. Then there'll be a Schoology quiz. And I think that's all I have for the video for today. Otherwise, if I resume, I'll add more at the end.